If you're looking for a quick and easy weeknight dinner or party appetizer that's always a crowd pleaser, I think you're going to love this beef lettuce wraps recipe. It's healthy, it comes together in no time, and it is packed with flavor thanks to a few secret ingredients. Hi there, I'm Nikki Sizemore. Welcome to my kitchen. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. This beef lettuce wraps recipe actually comes from my book, Buildable. And I think of all the recipes in the book, this is probably my oldest daughter, Ella's favorite. It's so easy, it's super fun, and you can use ground beef, ground turkey, ground chicken, whatever you like, because we're gonna make a super flavorful sauce that's gonna ensure that the meat stays juicy. Speaking of sauces, let's get started on that. You'll need a half cup of low sodium chicken broth, or you can use beef broth. And to this, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of tamari or soy sauce, 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, or you could use maple syrup or honey. I'm gonna go for maple syrup, and I'm just gonna eyeball it. That's gonna give us a little bit of sweetness to counteract the heat, and I'll get to the heat in a minute. Then we're gonna go for 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, or you can use arrowroot flour. This is gonna give this sauce a really luscious texture, so it's gonna coat the meat. And then 1 to 2 teaspoons of fish sauce. And I usually go for 2 teaspoons because I like it punchy, but you do you. And then last but not least, 1 teaspoon of toasted sesame oil. I love the smell of this. This is it, this is the sauce. And by making it now, when we head back to the stove to cook everything, it's gonna be ready and waiting for us. All right, that part's done. Now all I'm going to do is chop up, I need half of a sweet bell pepper, you can use any color you like, and half an onion. I'm gonna chop these as well as some garlic and ginger, and then we'll head back to the stove. I'm gonna start with just the onion and the bell pepper. Give those a jump start. If you add the garlic and the ginger now, they can burn by the time the other vegetables are done cooking. And these vegetables are gonna bulk up the meat mixture as well as add a little bit of sweetness and crunch. As always, season as you go, salt and pepper. Just go a little lighter than usual on the salt because remember that sauce has the tamari and the fish sauce in it, which are both salty. All right, once the vegetables are golden and softened, we're gonna scrape in the garlic and ginger, as well as add a tablespoon of tomato paste. And that's gonna give the sauce a little bit more richness and a little bit of that umami flavor. Kind of cook that, mashing the tomato paste into the pan so that it caramelizes. Okay, now that we've built this really delicious foundation, we're gonna scrape the vegetables to one side of the pan and add a pound of ground beef, or like I said, you could use turkey or chicken or bison. Just be sure you use a lean ground beef. This is a grass-fed because you don't want it to be too greasy. All right, once the meat is mostly browned, you can start to incorporate the vegetables back in. And now for that sauce. Be sure you give it a whisk because the cornstarch will settle at the bottom. Add that in. So bring this to a boil. That's going to activate the cornstarch and really let it thicken up the sauce. And then we'll just let it cook for a few minutes until everything is nice and thickened. All right, you can see how I can run my spatula along the bottom of the pot and it leaves that nice line. That means we are there. Now turn off the heat, but we're not done yet. We're gonna add a few more things to give even more flavor. Sriracha or any kind of chili sauce or chili paste that you like, and you can add as much or as little as you like. Some fresh lime zest, and this is really key because it's just gonna brighten everything. And then some fresh lime juice as well. Last but not least, some fresh cilantro. If you are not a cilantro fan, you can add some scallions instead. That's it, you guys. Dinner is ready to go. All right, so here's how I like to serve these. You wanna get some bib or butter lettuce leaves and then a few different toppings. And then this is totally optional, but I love to serve these lettuce wraps with rice, especially if it's a weeknight dinner, because it just stretches the dinner a little bit further. So this is the way I like to build mine, is put a little bit of rice in a lettuce leaf, add some of that meat mixture, and then I like to top it with a chili or 2, and then some peanuts, and a little bit of cilantro. And that way, each bite is like warm and crunchy and bright and all the things. For dinner, what we usually do is just pile the rice and meat into bowls with the lettuce leaves alongside, and then everyone kind of has their own portion, and that way my kids aren't fighting over who gets the leftovers. Time to taste it. The thing I love most about this is that contrast. If you've never made lettuce wraps before, you've got to give these a try. They're so fun. They're so fun to make. They're so fun to eat. I hope you guys like this beef lettuce wraps recipe. Let me know in the comments below. Tag me on Instagram at FromScratchFast if you give them a try. I'm Nikki Sizemore. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. They're messy and that's half the fun.